I often speak on the enemy has no new tricks, right? And as someone who has experienced having her spirit be attacked through trauma with the purposes of disconnecting me from the divine, disconnecting me with my higher self, disconnecting me from my ancestors, right? I've learned that a way that the enemy attacks is through one traumas, but not just for the sake of traumas, but for the sake of having our spirits broken, right? So that we don't believe, so that we don't pursue our goals, so that we live in our lower selves. And this is how we can understand the lower self and the higher self. When we're operating from the lower self, we're operating from pain, from insecurities, from the hurt, from the traumas, from the betrayals, right? And so the enemy wants to keep us there for the sake of one, when we're operating through those realms of the lower self, we are susceptible for these demonic attachments to attach to us. So the realm of darkness can only thrive when we are operating at those frequencies. Right now, one thing that I learned over the past few days, to be honest with you, well, that I got clarity on, right, was that I was reading the Bible and I was reading the gospel of I needed to read the all of the gospels, like the gospel of John, Luke, Mark, Matthew, right? So I was, when I started hearing them as I was driving, and then I started reading them because I need to put out a message, and I wanted to, I was guided to read that, right? And as I was reading that, I've got a message from the reading where it indicated that when Jesus was walking this earthly realm, right? Jesus, Yeshua, he expressed that nothing outside of us can defile us. Anything from the outside that we put into our body cannot defile us, right? And so that gave me a lot of joy, right? Because as a person that experienced a lot of SA abuse, a lot of addictions, trafficking, right? I and I've overcome it, right? I'm like, I'm like, people are would be stunned by, like, why are you so happy? Why are you so grateful, right? And I always think about those individuals who are still stuck on the experiences that they had, because I speak on the experiences and how their experiences, and I say experiences when it comes to trauma, right? I'm like we're not supposed to stay there. That was it. The addiction wasn't meant for you to become that, for that to become your identity, right? So as I heard that, it gave me a different way to explain the message, which is we go through our traumas, right? We are not supposed to make that our identity. So if it was addictions, don't identify with it anymore after you've healed from it, because this is how you continue to attract in those spirits of addiction. Even if it's not that same addiction that you had, you're going to always experience a form of addiction because you're relating to it. If it's a crime that you committed, stop identifying with the crime that you committed or that the name of that, so that you can be free of it. It's as long as we make that our identity, we continue to live in that, right? And so as I was reading those scriptures, I think it was for the past 2 or 3 days, I've been reading the gospel and listening to it over and over again, because as I listen to it and as I read it, I get a different perception out of it, specifically because I interpret the scriptures in a whole different way. Like, we're not going to get into that right now, but I wanted to speak on that, right? I wanted to speak on that so that we can understand it. So nothing outside of us can defile us, right? And so that goes with along with the message of when we're operating at a lower frequency, these unclean spirits are able to penetrate our vessel, right? And these unclean spirits can defile us. How? Because when we are operating at a low frequency, these spirits penetrate our vessel. And sometimes we are so low vibrational because we are operating through envy, jealousy, greed, lust, remorse, hatred, unforgiveness, right? And so these entities not only come in and attach themselves to our vessel, they most of the time penetrate our minds, and then they bring in other unclean spirits to join in and have a party within us, right? And so because these unclean spirits are not visible, we think that it is us, right? That it is us that is operating through our vessel, and that we are the one making these choices, and that we are the ones doing the things that we're doing to our bodies and to our spirits, right? And what happens there is that our moral compass gets, in a sense, sold out. We sometimes don't even have a moral compass anymore. And I'll give you the example of addictions, because that's the one that I can relate to. You know what I'm saying? where when we are so deep into the addictions, you've seen people that they have sold their homes, they have lost it all, they have defiled themselves in such a way that they lost themselves. They do things that they would never do if they were clean and sober, right? It's because that spirit was operating through them, right? Those spirits were operating through them. So at that time, it was not them who was driving that vessel. It was those spirits, right? And so this, when I heard that part of the scriptures, and it's fulfilling for me, because like I said, I didn't read the Bible before. This is something that I'm doing now, right? And even when I do read the Bible, I have to use my discernment, right? Because the scriptures have been tampered, right? And so, but it helps me with my message. So I'm doing it. So again, it is not anything that we put inside our bodies that defile us, but what comes out from within us, right? And so another way to look at the scriptures and to understand them and live them, right? And also to be vigilant about our frequency and the things that we engage in, and even our traumas and our pain, and choosing to forgive and choosing to get into alignment with self-love. The reason being that no matter what experiences that we've had, we think that the experiences themselves are what condemn us. That because we did such a thing, because we participated in certain things, we are now broken. And that's not the reality. We are meant to go through certain experiences and come up out of them and rise above them. And we can rise above any of these experiences by raising our frequency. If we are struggling with anything, when it comes to our physical vessel, when it comes to our spirit, the solution is to raise our frequency, raise our vibration. And we do that through healing, through choosing to heal, through choosing to love ourselves, through choosing to make better choices. We have free will. Even when we don't choose, we're still choosing. So we have free will. And we can choose to raise our frequency. We can choose to raise our vibration. We can choose to align ourselves with self-love, because this is not about anyone else but ourselves.